1. The Strait of Hormuz, the world's pressure point. Imagine a single stretch of water just 21 miles wide, through which nearly a third of the world's oil passes every single day. That's the Strait of Hormuz, and Iran sits right on top of it like a hand on a throat. If Iran decides to cause trouble there, the whole world feels it immediately. They can drop cheap mines in the water, fire missiles from the coast at passing tankers, send swarms of speedboats to harass ships, or just seize a vessel outright like they've done before. They don't even need to completely block the strait. They just need to make it dangerous enough that insurance prices skyrocket and tanker captains refuse to sail. Now watch what happens next. Oil prices spike. Not a little, but potentially to $150 or $200 a barrel. Gas stations in America raise prices. Inflation jumps. Japan, India, South Korea, and China all start panicking because their economies run on Gulf oil. Within days, world leaders are on the phone demanding the crisis stop. And here's the thing, Iran knows this. They know that any American president facing re-election cannot afford high gas prices. They know that global pressure will force Washington to think twice before escalating. The strait is Iran's nuclear option without the radiation. It turns a regional conflict into everyone's problem, and that gives Tehran enormous leverage. 2. The $20,000 drone against the $4 million missile. Here's where the math gets ugly for America. Iran builds these simple drones called shads. They cost maybe $20,000 to $50,000 each. They're not fancy. They have motorcycle engines and commercial GPS, but they fly and they can carry explosives. To stop one of these cheap drones, America has to shoot it down with something like a Patriot missile. That costs about $4 million. Do the math. One drone forces the other side to spend $4 million. Launch 30 drones and that's over $100 million in interceptors gone in minutes. Now add the real tactic. Iran doesn't just send drones. They send drones first to force the defense to turn on their radars and start shooting. Then while the defenders are busy and reloading, the real weapons show up. Ballistic missiles traveling many times faster than sound. Cruise missiles skimming low over the water. And if Iran really wants to make a point, hypersonic missiles that twist and turn on the way down, making them nearly impossible to hit. The goal isn't to get every weapon through. It's to get enough through that something important gets hit. An airbase, a command center, a radar installation. And because American interceptors are expensive and slow to build, every attack drains a stockpile that took years to accumulate. Iran fights with pocket change. America fights with gold bars. 3. Driving a wedge between America and its friends. This one is sneaky but devastating. Iran watches how America treats its different allies and exploits every difference. When Iran launched missiles at Israel in April 2024, American jets and warships lit up the sky helping intercept them. Israel got the full protection of the United States military. But when Iranian-backed Houthis fire drones at Saudi oil facilities, or when missiles hit American bases in Qatar and the UAE, the response is much quieter. Maybe some warnings, maybe some diplomacy, but not the full military show. Now put yourself in the shoes of a citizen in Dubai or Riyadh. You see your government hosting American bases, spending billions on American weapons. But when the missiles actually fly, Israel gets protected while your country's oil facilities burn. What are you supposed to think? Iran makes sure that question gets asked loudly. Their media and social networks spread the message constantly. America only really cares about Israel. Your rulers are hosting foreign soldiers who won't even defend you. You're paying the price for someone else's war. This eats away at the legitimacy of Gulf governments. Their people start asking why American bases are on their land if those bases don't stop Iranian attacks. Eventually, governments start to worry about protests or worse, uprisings. And when leaders get nervous, they start distancing themselves from Washington. They talk to Tehran. They hedge their bets. That's exactly what Iran wants. A region where America's friends aren't so friendly anymore, and maybe one day no more American bases at all. 4. The proxy army that fights without Iran fighting. Iran has built something remarkable over the past 40 years. A network of armed groups across the Middle East that do exactly what Tehran wants, but Iran can pretend it has nothing to do with them. In Lebanon, Hezbollah has over 150,000 rockets, many now accurate enough to hit specific buildings in Israel. In Yemen, the Houthis field hundreds of thousands of fighters and fire missiles at Saudi Arabia and Israel. In Iraq, militias loyal to Iran attack American bases and diplomats. In Syria, more groups threaten the Golan Heights. In Gaza, Hamas and Islamic Jihad get Iranian weapons and funding. Think about what this means for Israel. They have enemies on their northern border, southern border, eastern border, and now missiles coming from 1,000 miles away in Yemen. They have to defend everywhere at once. Their military is powerful but small. Fighting on 4 fronts means spreading thin, keeping reservists away from their jobs and families for months, and watching interceptor stocks dwindle. For America, the problem is similar. Bases in Iraq and Syria get rocketed regularly, ships in the Red Sea get targeted, and every time America wants to retaliate, the question becomes, against whom? The Houthis in Yemen, that's a quagmire. Hezbollah in Lebanon, that starts a war with a well-armed enemy, Iran itself. That's the big one nobody wants. The proxies give Iran something priceless. They can fight America and Israel every single day without ever putting an Iranian soldier in danger. And if one proxy gets hurt, the others keep fighting. It's the perfect asymmetrical weapon. 5 friends in high places, Russia and China. For a long time, Iranian missiles could fly far but couldn't hit much with precision. They were good for terrorizing cities, not for taking out specific military targets. That's changed. Through its relationships with Russia and China, Iran now gets something it could never build alone: real-time intelligence. Russian satellites and electronic warfare experts learned from the war in Ukraine help Iran locate American air defense radars with pinpoint accuracy. Chinese commercial satellite imagery, which has clear military uses, lets Iran watch American force movements across the region. Now Iran can do something new. Instead of just firing missiles blindly, they can target specific radars. The THAAD radar, for example, costs about $1 billion and takes years to build. One Iranian missile, guided by good intelligence, can turn that billion-dollar asset into scrap metal in seconds. And when that radar goes dark, the whole region goes blind. Other radars have to work harder to cover the gap, making them easier to find and hit. Coordination between bases breaks down. Air defense becomes a collection of individual batteries fighting alone instead of a network working together. That's exactly when the drone swarms and missile barrages become most effective. The production problem makes it worse. America cannot quickly replace these radars. The supply chains are long, the components are specialized, and the factories are already busy. A destroyed radar means a permanent hole in coverage for years. Iran gets that hole and they will exploit it every single time. 6. The mosaic that won't break. This last tactic is the hardest to grasp but maybe the most important. Iran has organized its entire military around one idea. There is no single thing you can destroy to make us stop fighting. Think of a traditional military like a painting. Remove one piece and the whole image is damaged. Now think of a mosaic, thousands of small tiles. Remove a few and the picture still looks the same. Break some and the sharp pieces become weapons. That's Iran's military. They've spent decades building underground missile cities deep enough that American bunker busters can't reach them. Missiles sit on trucks that never stop moving. They hide in tunnels, roll out fire, and disappear back underground before satellites can track them. Thousands of fake launchers and decoys make sure America wastes expensive weapons on nothing. The command structure works the same way. If American bombers kill the generals in Tehran, nothing stops. Provincial commanders already have orders about what to do if they lose contact with headquarters. They can launch retaliation on their own. The system has no head to cut off. Small units of fighters operate independently with their own weapons and supplies. When attacked, they don't form lines and fight. They scatter, attack from different directions, and melt back into neighborhoods and mountains. Every capability exists in multiple places. This makes the nightmare scenario for any American planner. You can hit Iran with everything you have on day one. You can destroy hundreds of targets. And when the smoke clears, Iran still has thousands of missiles on mobile launchers, commanders still giving orders, and fighters still willing to die. The war doesn't end, it just gets started.